Good morning, friends. It is good to be here with you all this morning. Thanks for being here with Journey Home Meditation for the morning sit. We're going to do some shared breathing today and just a little bit of contemplation this morning. And I've got a poem. And all that is to say that I am very happy to be here with you today. Let's begin with just a few breaths. Taking these few moments to just become aware of your body and everything that entails. We want to give attention to what we want to give devotion to. Mary Oliver says that attention is the beginning of devotion, and I love that set of words. I also think that attention is the currency of love. So when we pay attention, we are paying love. And attention would best come with lack of expectation. The less expectation we have in our attention, the more we will see. So breathing in through the nose to the bottom of the belly, pay attention. And breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Paying attention. Breathing in and out. Maybe in the similar way that attention is the currency of love, breath is the currency of life. And when we are in that privileged space of forgetting, we have a wealth of life ahead of us. We can breathe in and out all day without thinking about it. This is one of the miracles of the human body. The way that we can have all of these different minds functioning at the same time, these intelligences that are doing what they are going to do, with or without my conscious thought. But to one who is aware of their death, each breath is in countenance with love. It is the face of love. So this week has been quite a intense week with a lot of focus on uh, death. And it's not that would like to get away from that focus. I'm okay with that focus, but I also understand that we are alive. And in the living, we have responsibilities. And in those responsibilities, we have the possibility of showing up. I was reading some poems this morning, and for the life of me, I cannot recall right now who this poet is, but I believe it was Bob Kaufman. I think I was reading Bob Kaufman when I read that when you walk on the clouds, walk gently, because each footprint you leave behind can be seen. And I was thinking about how there are appropriate times for appropriate things. Uh, and almost always, when my awareness is there with my steps, I walk gently. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if that is an insecurity or uh, if that is following what I think is customary. When attention is being paid, it feels sacred and hallowed. And taking those gentle steps, it does seem appropriate. But there are times too when we stomp and we dance and we sing and we let the weight of our bodies fall onto the earth. And we crash and we have friction. And we do all of these things because this is what it is to have a body. When I was living in this small village we called TP Village, because we all lived in these cloth tents that were sewn by the people in the village. And we lived in close proximity to each other, but we lived in a wide open space. So there was the opportunity for both at any moment to be held and surrounded by the people that you love and whom loved you, and to be seemingly alone under the stars. You could just walk 500 yards in any direction and you were the smallest one in the room because the room was as big as all of existence. And then you could step into the teepees where you are quite large. And so you have to learn two ways of walking, right? You have to learn to step into the space where you are large and to be gentle with that largeness. And the larger we get with our love, the more gentle we can become. And you learn that by stepping into a big lodge full of people, and you have maybe these foot-sized spaces every 3 or 4 feet, and you have to navigate your way to that one spot on the other side of the fire to find your seat. And you remove your shoes when you walk in to not bring in everything from outside to the inside. Because this is a hearth, and we are gathered around this hearth. And these lessons that I learned in living that way, I think they follow me into my awareness when I am walking, because I walk more gently. But when I am alone out in the woods, sometimes I run. Sometimes I climb and jump down from tree limbs and land with an enormous thud on the ground, and I'm just as forgiven. This is what it is to have a body. This is what it is to be alive. And bodies all are different, and lives all are different. But it just comes down to understanding your size in that moment. And it's always relative. It's always relative. How much space you are taking and how much space you are making. These are two very good meditations to carry through your day. Be aware of the space that I take and the space that I make. My friend Scout, when she died, it was abundantly clear that she was a large, large presence in our lives. And the thing about her largeness was that it did not take space. It made space for more. As she came into relationship, she brought in more people. There were 100 people at her funeral that, if asked, would have said she was my best friend. Because a best friend is a friend that always makes space for you. That's the best thing. That's the best. Even when you can't share that space, we make space for one another. And it's like stepping into the teepee and the hearth is in the center. And if there's not enough space in that circle for you, there was just this natural thing that occurred where people would just move back a bit. And just moving back a bit, stepping back just a little bit, created that much more space. And there you were, finding yourself tiptoeing through those openings to find your space. Awareness is hallowed ground. Awareness is that everything is sacred. And I sanctify it with my payment of attention. Breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. As I read through poems in the morning, oftentimes I can find one right away that just speaks to this practice. There's new poems that I find all of the time. I have a bit of an issue with buying poetry books. And so I have a few that I haven't yet got to read all the way through, maybe just a few, maybe. But there are those poems that I keep coming back to as well. The way that a preacher will come back to a verse in the Bible, maybe. You could be having a conversation with there's some really good preachers out there. There's some really good scholars of the Bible and the way that they can hold space and attention. But most importantly, what makes a really good preacher is one that when you're talking to your pastor, they know exactly how to bring your attention back into the word. And if you are Christian, that is very similar to bringing your attention back to the teachings of the Buddha or the teachings of Krishna and Arjuna and the Gita, the teachings of Muhammad, whatever it is, coming back to the word is the way that we come back to our sense of home. Remember this. Remember this. To remember, to become a member again. As we remember our home, as we bring our attention back to it, we are a member again. And a good pastor will be able to bring you back to the word. Whatever predicament you're going through, there's something that applies, and they have this knowledge. And there's probably 10,000 verses they don't know, but the 10,000 they do, they can recall with practice, right? And it's like that for me with poetry, that there's moments where I discover the joy of finding new verses, new poems, new poets. It's one of my favorite things. Just yesterday, I went into I don't know what it is, a YouTube hole of Tommy Pico. Tommy Pico is a fantastic poet. I highly recommend checking out some Tommy Pico poems, especially the poem that he read at the San Francisco Library Conference, or something like that. San Francisco Library something. If you look up Tommy Pico, San Francisco Library, you'll find that it's beautiful. And then Dinez Smith, another poet. I found them both, and I'd never heard them before. And it was exciting and new. But this morning, as I go through all these poems, just to have my morning, just to have some tea and slow myself down, I wanted to kept coming back to this poem that I've shared on this sit many times, and I'm going to share it again. And this is by Wendell Berry, and it's appropriate that it made me think of a pastor because he is the pastoral poet laureate of America. And this poem speaks to this practice of mine and yours and ours and so many of us so well. And this is from the book A Timbered Choir. A Timbered Choir is a collection of his Sabbath poems. There's a couple more collections of his Sabbath poems out now that I highly recommend reading. But this is the first poem. And it's written on a Sabbath in 1979. And I want to believe that this was written on March 17th, 1979, just in the cold morning of the spring when he's doing all of his work. And I want to believe that because that's the day I was born. And this poem really speaks to me. So it's all about me. There it is. I mean, let's just admit there's a touch of narcissism in sitting in front of screens, looking at your own face, talking to people. I think we all can agree. Um, but it's all God, and it's okay. It's just human things that we do. This is from Sabbath Poems from a Timbered Choir, number 1. I go among trees and sit still. All my stirring becomes quiet around me like circles on water. My tasks lie in their places where I left them, asleep like cattle. Then what is afraid of me comes and lives a while in my sight. What it fears in me leaves me, and the fear of me leaves it. It sings, and I hear its song. Then what I am afraid of comes, and I live for a while in its sight. What I fear in it leaves it, and the fear of it leaves me. It sings, and I hear its song. After days of labor, mute in my consternations, I hear my song at last, and I sing it. As we sing, the day turns, the trees move. Just moving into your meditation posture is the act of seeking balance. This is a devotional practice to the breath, so we are moving our body in such a way that we can obtain stillness and openness. Elongating the spine, bringing the shoulder blades together just a touch in the back. Placing your hands gently on your lap or in front of your belly. Softly holding one another or open. Letting your shoulders hang off of your spine. Now pay the currency of love with attention to your body. As you breathe in and out, feel the sensations, the places where you might have some tightness or some clenching, some grasping, and just breathe into this space. Breathe as if it's the most important thing you can do, because the moment you stop, you will not return. So each breath is a gift. Treat it as it's more valuable than gold, more precious than diamonds. Breathing in. As we move into this weekend, um, I'll be back on Monday with this sit, and I just want to say aloud, for accountability's sake, that I want to maintain this awareness each day. And I want to maintain the awareness that my body is alive. And I will be attending a memorial for a friend whose body is not this weekend. And I will be celebrating the birth of my son whose body is alive. And there are things in this life we can hold with our arms, and there are things in this life we can't let go of with our hearts. But if I can give that loving kindness in the form of attention to my body in this moment, I can recognize all of the gifts. And that's what I hope for you. The poet Mary Oliver is again coming to my mind, like some weird pastor of poetry. Verses keep coming up, and the verse that comes to me right now is, you only have to allow the soft animal of your body to love what it loves. Gosh, just imagine where we could be in each moment of our life if we only would allow the soft animal of our bodies to love what it loves. Just to love what it loves. Thanks for being here this morning. Um, if you haven't yet, subscribe. That helps the page that I do this on to be able to reach you with notifications, which you can monitor and control how many notifications you get in each day. But check out other content creators on this format. I'm been really pleased with how slow this format can work. And what I mean by that is, it's not 140 characters, or you'll find what you want to find, but you can curate a bit of mindfulness in what we're bringing into our minds. And this is very important, because I walk through this world every day knowing that there are minds around me full of fear and hate, that there are minds around me believing everything to be a threat. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that I want so badly to embrace them for 3 breaths and bring them into the soft animal of their body from that sharp, rigid place of their mind. And we have this moment to do that. Hari Om.